Here's how to have a great year of business in 2026. I'm going to give you 9 things that you want to be thinking about, as well as a little bonus. And the bonus is right at the end, but it is one of those things that very few business owners can actually do, but those who do, we already know are doing well, and they're very glad that they did it. So the first one from the top is to have a plan. Well, of course, we're going to say this. We are accountants. We're trying to de-risk things and put plans together for people, but so few business owners in New Zealand actually know what it is that they want to achieve. One of the best ways that you can think about what it is that you want to achieve is financially, and then what you want your day to look like. So very quickly, financially, how much money do you want to take home after tax every month? There's your financial goal. Now take that and then gross it up to see what is that amount before tax. That's your profit or shareholder salary that you've got to aim for. Just know at least what you are aiming for, and then reverse engineer back with a bottom-up analysis, search that on the channel, and figure out how much would you need to sell in order to actually do that. That'll then tell you your sales of goods or services needed to achieve it financially. Secondly, it's not all about money in business, and we get that. So what do you want your day to look like? You've got to start putting boundaries in place so that your business delivers to you what you wanted to get into business for. And often that is to be able to make choices, have decisions, go and play golf, go to the kids' recital, have a holiday. You should be able to do those things, but we've got to build the business to allow us to do that. So if you know what those 2 things are, you're probably going to be a step ahead of other people, because you're going to be more directionally correct around what your plan even is for 2026. You don't need to necessarily know all the how right now, but at least know where you're going. Okay, so number 2 is follow the money. And this gets into a little bit of the how. You've got to think about who is going to want your good or your service. Who is your client? Who is your customer? And where is the money going to come from? If you can identify that, you've got to get yourself in front of those people and agitate their pain points and tell them that you can solve this. So as a practical example, you may be a roofer, and you may have to go and tell people that have an issue with their roof that you are the person that can solve this. And if they don't solve that, here's the issues that can happen. You may get a leak. That may cause issues to the electrical side of the house. It might also ruin the carpet. You might then have to spend time with the insurers trying to get that fixed. Why not fix the actual issue, the roof? So could it be a door knock? Could it be a flyer? Could it be a Facebook ad talking to the person that has the money and has the problem? Now on this, a very, very clear theme that you need to understand. I believe the economy has fundamentally changed. There is so much money in term deposits, and as it slowly comes out, the question is, where's it going to go? You can bet that the finance houses are looking to get some of that and put it under management so that they can clip a little bit of the ticket for the advice. You're no different. If you're selling to baby boomers who have term deposits and who have higher levels of wealth statistically in this country, that could be where your money is. So have a think about if that is your ideal customer and how you could speak to them. A very good example of this is motorhomes. There are now over 70,000 of these in the country. What do they need? They need to be serviced, they need tyres, they need to be cleaned. And a lot of people won't want to do this, but we have business owners who are telling us that they are targeting that problem and that client, and they are making money. So of course, if these people have invested tens of thousands of dollars into these motorhomes, well, they're not going to be too bothered by paying a few $100s for a repair, a tyre, so that they can use it. They've got to spend the money so that they can use it. So their money is going to slowly be coming out of term deposits. Their interest rate that they were getting on that may be decreasing, and they may then prefer to spend the money. So don't be scared to make offers to people who have money. And baby boomers have more money statistically, and money coming out of term deposits will start to roll through the economy more. So tuck that up your sleeve. It's what many people forget, because all of the media commentary is, oh, interest rates are coming down, that's great for mortgage holders. There's over $250 billion slushing around in term deposits and savings accounts, and then you've got transaction accounts. There's plenty of money out there not getting a good return. A better return for some of these people will be to spend it on the things that they care about, whether it be travel, doing repairs, or maintaining their property that they've invested a lot of money into. Now the third one is actually a little bit touchy, but I predict we're going to see more people looking to offshoring in this new economy. Now people are looking at other business owners who are doing this and thinking, maybe I could do that too. I could hire someone internationally, and I don't need to have someone on the ground in office space, pay for parking, then we need internet here and then there, then their travel expenses from getting from here to there when we go to the conference, all those sorts of things. People are looking at more and more offshore solutions. I think this is going to be a big theme that we'll see over the next 5 years. But as the economy turns and things start getting better, more and more New Zealand business owners are going to be looking at offshore labor. And trust me, there isn't many industries that are spared via the access to offshore labor, and offshore labor that's very, very good at what they do. Kiwi businesses are going to be a little bit behind the 8 ball on understanding that this can actually really benefit their business, but more and more people are going to do it, and then hopefully what it leads to is their business moving even faster, and then maybe we get those hires on the ground here in New Zealand as well, when people's eyes and minds are opened up to what's actually possible for their business with some external labour outside of New Zealand that could potentially be at a cheaper rate than what they would be paying if they were trying to hire somebody here in New Zealand full time. Now, I think some people will have a preference to having contracted type roles and hours that they can access without necessarily having to hire a full-time equivalent. So that's going to be interesting to watch play out. And many people are preferring to contract from a tax perspective as well and to taste different forms of work. Longer term, I think we're going to see more and more people go, you know what, I would like to do a few different things in my week, and this setup allows me to contract to that business, to that business, and to that business. And that's how I get my job satisfaction and fulfillment. So contracting will allow some of these people to do that and also claim some of their expenses and then bringing their tax bill down than if they solely were told that they need to be an employee on a PAYE salary and do this and do it for 40 hours a week and do that for the rest of the year. I don't think that's going to cut it long term as people start to really try and build work-life balance into their life where they're doing things that they really want to do. Now, the fourth one is AI usage. AI usage is only maturing, and I think it leads back into what we were just talking about in number 3, where people are going to understand that instead of hiring somebody, they could use AI to perform simple tasks faster, and the really creative and productive will do even more with that AI, but it may mean that people look to have a contractor that can help them implement the AI and also use the AI and be in charge of that, whilst the business owner focuses on building the team, building the new products, and building the strategy, building the plan, and taking the business in the direction that they would like to go. So I do think AI usage will increase in 2026, and if you're not looking at how you could use it in your business, you're probably leaving a massive chapter closed that you could unlock and find some real gains for your business. Now, the fifth one is that I do believe marketing will get a little bit easier. However, the best way to get marketing working better is if you have a strong brand. Now, many business owners in New Zealand don't have a brand presence. They will start an Instagram account, but then they won't keep it updated. They'll get one Google review, but it was 2 years ago. The businesses that are congruent with everything, website, Instagram, social media, answering my phone on time, getting back to my client who made an inquiry via the website. We've got active Google reviews. We've got some imagery. People can see us. They can see who they're going to be speaking to. All of those things sound simple and little. They can take a lot of work to line up, but the businesses that have strong brand presence are going to win. And when they go out to the market and make offers, I think that with the loosening of the wallet, they'll find it easier to do their marketing and to make more money. Now, the businesses that suddenly get confidence that things are doing better are going to go out there and go, oh, I better start a website. You're starting from scratch. So you're starting massively behind some of these people that have been building these assets through a tricky time. And we all know that it's been tough, and we've had technical and real recession here in New Zealand. So as that turns, those who invested into brand are going to finally get paid back for the work that they were doing to do that. Brand is a massive investment, and most Kiwi business owners won't invest in brand nor any forms of marketing. So in your business, you've got to go all the way back up to number 2, but it leads back from number 1, plan. So you want to know how much money do you actually want to make? Then who do you need to speak to? Okay, how are you going to get in front of those people? So your marketing needs to be as simple as, I can solve this problem for you, and I will come and tell you that I can do it, and I'll do a really good job, and then the flywheel will start. So I do think marketing will get a bit easier in 2026, but there will be AI slop everywhere. There will be short form content that is crap, and people will get very fatigued by all of the information coming at them. So you're going to have to find a way to stand out. You're going to have to be authentic and really solve people's problems and make sure that they understand who you are and what it is that you can do for them. Because business is a game of the person caring about themselves, not necessarily you. So we spend all this time doing our About Us page on our website. We should be thinking about the client and the customer. What is it about them that we can do for them? That's what they're interested in, their problems, and you solving them. Now we're up to number 6, and I think we're going to see a little bit of a frustrating debt lag. Now what we mean by this is that some business owners got themselves into debt through this tough economic time, And they're going to want to put their foot on the gas, and they're going to want to activate their plan, and they're going to want to be growing and hiring. But unfortunately, they're going to have to prioritize paying back debt that helped them get through the downturn and the tough economic time. Now, if you're not in that position, you have to understand that you already have an unfair advantage. You're either on a level playing field, or you can be thinking faster than these people. And no shade on these people. They had to do what they had to do to get through. But remember, they're starting on the back foot. They've got to prioritize clearing down debt. That's going to slow down some of their decision making. So if that's not you, you have to realize the lag that a recession creates. And you don't want to get trapped into that same way of thinking. You've protected yourself, you've protected your downside, you don't have you can be moving with confidence and speed and taking on more risk than those who have to still pay back their debt. And it may take them some time to do that. Now, why you also need to be mindful of this too is that there will be more liquidations, and some of the businesses that you're dealing with right now may be at risk of closing down if they didn't get paid by 1 or 2 customers. So there's always a risk of liquidation, no matter who you're dealing with. So be very careful. Just because your business starts going better and the economy starts getting better doesn't mean that somebody might come along, get you to do a whole heap of work and then say, oh, we can't pay. Then all of a sudden you've got a cash flow issue. How are you going to get that revenue to then pay the costs that you've already paid for, to then have profit? So be very, very careful of the debt lag. It takes 5 years for bad debts to wash out of a system, according to a recent Governor General of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. So just because things might be looking up, be very careful of the debt lag. It will catch a few business owners out there when their business is suddenly doing better, but somebody comes along and then disrupts all of that by saying, sorry, we can't pay you. Okay, number 7, remember we've got an aging demographic of business owners in this country. Now, what does an aging demographic of business owners do? And again, no shade on them, but the data doesn't lie. They're less likely to want to do marketing, they're less likely to want to export, they're less likely to introduce technology, and they're less likely to innovate. There's a massive opportunity here for people looking to buy a business, buy their competitor, but a lot of them haven't wanted to sell yet. Why? They're sitting on their hands. I'll wait for the economy to be better, my numbers will look a bit better, and then I'll take my business to the market. So they're going to be competing a little bit, but they're not going to be willing to do some of the things that you want to do. A lot of these older business owners are fatigued. In New Zealand, we rank higher in terms of having an older aging demographic of business owners compared to some of the other Asia Pacific countries. Now, that means that there's opportunity for younger business owners to keep innovating, to think about exporting, to do things differently, to think about technology. Of course, when you're younger, you're going to be thinking more long-term, and the risk that you're willing to take may be different to those at the end stage of their business cycle. So just have a think when you're watching other business owners who may be a lot older than you, their goal, going back to number 1, or their plan could be, I need to get this ready for sale. Yours might be completely different. So be careful looking over the fence and looking at what other people are doing and think, we need to be doing that too. There could be a method to their madness, and it could be trying to just optimize profit and what they're doing so that they can put it on the market and sell it. So that's why it's very important to have a plan and know exactly why it is that you're doing what you're doing. Stick to your plan, stick to your longer term goals. Don't worry about what others are doing, but opportunities will present in that space. Okay, number 8 is global uncertainty. You can guarantee in 2026 there's going to be another major something. Something is going to happen and we'll go, whoa, I didn't see that coming. You're never going to see everything coming. If you start to go back through the last 10 years, you will start to realize how much stuff you've lived through that you didn't predict would happen. Now, how you get through this is you accept the volatility and you adapt and you react and you're proactive and you're thinking about these things happening already to worst case scenario them so that when they do happen, you're not too worried. And then you react better when it does happen rather than freaking out when it does. But there will be more global uncertainty. The world is very shaky out there. Unfortunately, we'll all have to live through that and understand how we can accept that. There'll be other things that will happen in your business and your life too, but it's how you respond to those things that really is important. Not necessarily what the event is, but how you react. I saw a good line this week, and that is that the story may be correct, but the meaning you gave the story may not be. Now, you need to be very careful of the meaning you give this uncertainty when it comes in 2026. When you're in business, you're probably more adaptable to risk and things that come into your life that are uncertain. That's part of being in business. We sign up to a very uncertain environment. Remember, you've got that as a skill set that you're constantly learning. Your resilience will naturally be higher than a lot of people who are chasing security and comfort. That's not what you signed up for in business. So accept that there will be things in your business and in the world that won't go the way you thought they were going to go. But it is the way that you react to those things that is even more important. You're more resilient than you're probably giving yourself credit for. Now, it wouldn't be a 2026 video without mentioning the election in New Zealand. What happens every election cycle? Now, an Australian was laughing at me the other day saying, mate, what I don't get about your country, is that Australian accent? Anyway, in the first year, these politicians just spend it blaming the last crew that were in government. And in the second year, they're saying, well, things are slowly getting better. And then in the third, mate, they're basically saying, well, we need to do our marketing and tell you how great your life will be if you keep voting for us. So that is, unfortunately, the cycle that we live in this country. Now, if you place all of your thinking and your plan and who your customer is and whether you're going to hire and whether you're going to grow and whether you're going to look at offshoring into, oh, I'll just wait until after the election, what do you think is going to happen? We're going to drive more uncertainty, we're going to slow down, and that is what a lot of Kiwi people do in an election year. Now, business owners do the exact same thing. I need certainty, so then I'll wait till I know who's going to be in government before making decisions. There will be another repeat cycle of that. A, you've got to be aware of it. B, you've got to figure out how you're going to navigate that for yourself. Comes back to the plan to start with and what you really want to achieve and how hungry you are for it, but also for your customer and your client. And just accept that sometimes things can slow down around that period. So what are you going to do? You're going to ramp up your marketing? Are you going to have objections handled already by telling people, well, you don't need to wait until after that. Here's what you need to be thinking about, so you can move them through that process and give them some certainty? That's for you to understand and unpack. But it's something we have to work through as business owners every 3 years. And it's important to do it because we're going to go through it again shortly as well. So the back end of 2026 is going to be very divisive. There's going to be mudslinging everywhere. There's going to be distractions. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be a loss of focus. So you want to be aware of that nice and early and don't get caught in that. Stick to your goals, stick to your plans, stick to your path and keep going. And you'll be very glad that you did. All right, here's a bonus one for you to wrap up as well. Stack some cash. Do you know how many business owners would have loved to have gone through the recession, having known that it was going to be this tough, and stacked some cash before they got there? But instead, we all went out, we leveraged ourselves up on debt, and we thought, well, we can have all of these things, and then interest rates started to increase, and we started to freak out. We went back into scarcity mode. We've got to wait for interest rates to come down for the economy to be better, and we get stuck into the cycle. The business owners that we log into their Xero and their accounting software, and they've got cash sitting there in a bank account, when we talk to them, they roll with a different swagger, a different aura. They're more confident. They can make decisions. They know tax is sorted. They're thinking about acquisitions. They're thinking about what else they could be doing because they've got cash sitting there. So if you want to build up cash in your business, first you've got to make that a priority. You can do it slowly but surely, but trust us, build a buffer and deliberately stack some cash aside. You will feel more confident doing it, whether it's in your personal life or your business. Stack some cash. Put it away into a different account. Know that you've got it to lean on. It does wonders for your confidence and for your understanding that if things get a bit rocky and they get a bit uncertain, you got some cash to lean on. Because that's the ultimate petrol that we're looking for in our business. Now, the number one thing business owners struggle with in New Zealand is cash flow. So we've done a free training on cash flow planning if you want to dig that out as well. There's an hour 50 there for you. We've unlocked it for you. But the reason it's still their number one issue is because people don't go away to work out how can I improve cash flow in my business. That's our responsibility as a business owner. And the ideal outcome is eventually we have cash stacked aside. A lot of the successful business owners understand this and they have it there as a safety buffer so that they can feel more confident should things get a bit risky. Well, there you go. There's 9 things that you can work on for 2026 to ensure that you have a good year in business as well as a bonus as well. We hope that you have an amazing year. We'll be here alongside you throughout it, building our business as well. We've managed to scale our business up from absolutely zero clients, zero revenue to over $1.5 million of turnover. We're chasing down that $2 million goal, but really we're chasing down the same things that you are. What do you want your day to be like? And what cash do you want it to deliver to you? We want business owners in New Zealand to be rewarded for the risks that they are taking. But first, they have to be deliberate about what it is that they want to achieve. So spend some time thinking about that. Good luck out there and make 2026 count.